Deacons East Africa. It's become the first fashion retailer to list at the Nairobi Securities Exchange. The firm has outlets at the moment in 3 countries, Kenya, Rwanda and Uganda. It listed 123.6 million shares, priced at 15 shillings each on the bourse's alternative segment. Deacon shares have been trading in the over-the-counter market for the past 6 years. It's got a wide range of brands in its stable. That includes Truworths, Angelo, Bossini, Mr. Price, Adidas, 4U2, Baby Shop, Life Fitness, and Mr. Price Home as well. Now, products in those outlets that are sold in those outlets includes clothes, footwear, accessories, sports and fitness equipment, and kitchenware as well. Now, funds raised at the bourse will mostly go towards the company's regional expansion. It manages about 38 stores across East Africa right now. It plans to increase that number to 60 by 2020.
Over the last 2 years, there has been an increase in international brands setting shop in East Africa with the aim of tapping into the growing middle income segment. Deacon's growth has been supported by the increasing demand for vibrant and fresh brands in the region.
Wahome Mushiri is the Managing Director of Deacons East Africa. He's with me in studio right now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Roma.
2nd of August, we're smack in the middle of a very nasty bear market. Why list now?
Well, markets tend to have trends, ups and downs, and I don't think that should be the concern. If you have a good growth story on the stock exchange, you will find your value, and from finding your value, you should be able to grow that share price over time.
I mean, historically, usually, especially coming towards elections, we always have that historical
exactly.
dip. So for you, it's not really
that's not the issue. The issue is price discovery, and that's a principal objective of this listing, that our shareholders can have a visibility on the value of their holding, and we've achieved that. From there, the expansion program that we're proposing to the market and to our shareholders should bring that price back up over time. If you remember Safaricom, went into market at 5, dropped to just below 2 shillings. Look at it today. 19 shillings a share. 19 shillings a share. So it's about long-term vision for the business, and that's where we're at.
Let's talk about that long-term vision. You your pitch to shareholders is, look, we need to add 22 stores between now and 2020. You're very, very widely exposed to Kenya. Where these other 22 stores going to be?
There's a lot that's going on, and Kampala's coming on very strongly with retail property development. Kigali is coming through. Dar es Salaam, that we did attack 5 years ago, is not a no-no. It's a green field that we must look back at. But in Kenya itself, despite the fact that we're fully invested in Nairobi, the whole devolution story is starting to make sense to us. We can see property retail in development mode in Kisumu, in Eldoret, in Nakuru, in Meru, in Kisii. And we're seeing formalization of business. And therein lies the opportunity.
Speaking of these other countries, Kampala, Kigali especially, those 2 cities, when I think of them, my main question looking at your information memorandum is yes, there's a market, but is perhaps the limiter, the bottleneck here, a lack of appropriate retail space for Deacons?
A lack of appropriate retail space was a thing in the past. Today, Rama, retail property development is on the go. Not just in Nairobi, across Kenya, into Kigali, right through to Kampala and Dar es Salaam. Malls are in build mode, and that's going to be a thing that is going to help form formal retail.
Reebok, one of the brands you added to the stable in the course of
Amazing brand.
Interesting brand, although we're not going to be making any pitches for them here. But what else should we expect to come through? Because, I mean, reading through that list of franchises you have, it's a pretty extensive one.
Hardly. 10 brands? Hardly. The spectrum is wide. The opportunity is unbelievable. And we will not be the only participants in this game. I'm clear about that. And what we're looking at is an East African middle class that are looking for goods and services of a particular quality at a particular value proposition. And Reebok fits that bill. There are brands that we are in discussions with. If I told you, I'd have to kill you because we haven't.
This is the part where I haven't signed an NDA.
Yeah, the ink hasn't dried yet on the contract. Yeah. But more to come. Our directors should be making announcements fairly shortly on a couple of very exciting brands.
Give us a timeline. 3 months, next quarter, half year, what?
Give me 4 weeks.
Okay.
I will make my first announcement.
All right, fair enough. One last thing, though. There's been this explosion, right, in the fashion sphere, local brands coming up left, right, and center. In Kenya, you talk about people like Wambui Mukenyi, for example. And I noticed that local brands are also acquiring and supporting local brands. That was a strong part of your future growth plan. How's that supposed to work out?
There's one thing to have design products into the market, and there's quite another to have a mass retail opportunity with a supply chain that works and feeds into that opportunity.
Because the logistics tends to be the weak spot.
Yes, it tends to be the weak spot. Not just the financing, the production capacity, the consistency of product. And because when you say, I'm going to give a customer a small-sized item, all of them will be small of the same size. And that's where the challenge comes with local production. We are very, very keen, Rama, to open our doors not just to local designers, but to local production as well, provided it meets the customer's demand. We're just a vehicle here, and we are happy to open our doors if you can prove that you're connecting with the customer and their demands.
All right, we'll leave it there for the time being. Interesting conversation, Mr. Mushiri. Appreciate it.
It is.
Right, congratulations on the listing, all the same.
Thank you, Rama.
Right, we've been speaking, of course, to the Managing Director of Deacons, Mushiri, right here in studio. We're still